The fans have the power to vote on the stipulations and who's in the match and all that jazz. But was it any good? That's fucking awful, isn't it? Should we do that again? Let's do one that's far better than that show. 4 show reviews in 1 review. But were any of them any good? Pick one of them. It'll do. Come on, this is going to be a long ass bed. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this. Right here is another episode 10 years ago. I know it's your favourite series, and of course it's mine. I say that, you'll notice that I didn't bother doing a TNA Bound for Glory 2005 review. I'm sorry ladies and gentlemen, I just do not have the time to do 2 of these a month at the moment, even though I will do Survivor Series in November, but I just, this crazy thing called real life is just getting on top of me at the moment. I'm noticing that I'm struggling to get my vids done. This vid, for example, has taken me 2 weeks to get. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this. Right here is another episode 10 years ago. I know it's your favourite series, and of course it's mine. I say that, you'll notice that I didn't bother doing a TNA Bound for Glory 2005 review. I'm sorry ladies and gentlemen, I just do not have the time to do 2 of these a month at the moment, even though I will do Survivor Series in November, but I just, this crazy thing called real life is just getting on top of me at the moment. I'm noticing that I'm struggling to get my vids done. This vid, for example, has taken me 2 weeks to get made, and it's just like, it's getting more and more and more, so something had to get dropped, and unfortunately the TNA reviews are the thing that is going to get dropped. Tonight I'm going to talk about 4 shows for you guys. I'm going to quickly razz through the Raw Homecoming show, then we'll do Taboo Tuesday, and then we'll talk about the 2 Eddie Guerrero tribute shows that I was asked to review as well. So, on October the 3rd, 2005, Raw returned to the USA Network. I said on my No Mercy review that it was the night after No Mercy that they returned to the USA Network. Turns out I was talking out of my arse. Thing is, no one actually corrected me on this one, which was a bit of a concern, because normally you guys, if I say something wrong, I'm normally like, hey Mark, it's actually, no, it's not like that. It's Mick, you got the dead run, Mick. You know, 15Ks and all that. You know, but this time, no one said anything, so that was a bit strange. So, the highlights, I won't talk about everything that happened on the show, but the highlights of Raw Homecoming were indeed a Piper's Pit segment, where Randy Orton took out both Piper and his guest Mick Foley with RKOs. The RKO that he hit on Roddy Piper was fucking awful. It was closer to a stunner than an RKO. It looked like Piper just didn't know what he was meant to be taking. Kurt Angle and Shawn Micheals fought to a draw in a decent Iron Man match. The score was 2-2 at the end of the Iron match. This was meant to be the rubber match because, of course, these 2 fought at WrestleMania and fought at Vengeance. But no, we get a draw, so these 2, I'm sure, are going to fight again one time. We got a segment that was truly felt like it was never ending. It was Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that bit dragged on for ages, and eventually Vince took the stunner and all that, and Shane came out and got stunned instantly, and then Stephanie came out and started cutting a promo, and they started having a bit of back and forth, and then she took a stunner, and then Linda came out, and this bit genuinely felt like it was never going to end. And of course, I'm sure you all remember, it features one of the worst stunners of all the times on Linda. Edge beat Matt Hardy in a loser leaves Raw ladder match, where if whoever lost had to leave Raw, obviously, but at the same time, Edge's Money in the Bank briefcase was also on the line, and Edge won. Matt Hardy fucked off to SmackDown. The Game returned. Triple H, not been seen for a long time since his feud with Batista ended. He and Ric Flair teamed up to absolutely demolish Carlito and Chris Masters, and then after the match, Triple H proved that he's still a big bad heel by turning on his best mate Ric Flair, whacking him with his phallic sledgehammer, and then battering him all over the back. Vince had decreed that there was going to be a SmackDown match on this show, but by this point, of course, Vince had gone home. He said someone's going to get fired for this after what happened with Stone Cold. So JBL, Eddie Guerrero, and Christian versus Rey Mysterio, Chris Benoit, and Batista was meant to happen. But yeah, because Vince has gone home, Bischoff comes out. Literally, as the bell goes, Bischoff comes out and cancels the match. That was quite funny. The reason I've brought this one up is because this, as far as I know, was Eddie Guerrero's final Raw appearance. Okay? Hulk Hogan challenged Stone Cold Steve Austin to a match at WrestleMania. I have no idea why, because 10 years later this match still hasn't happened, so it's one of those that was pointless. And in the main event, John Cena defeated Eric Bischoff, and then a big Raw versus SmackDown brawl broke out afterwards. Okay, so that was fun. A week after the show, as a revenge for the Stone Cold Stunners, Linda fired Jim Ross. Just need to point that one out, because we're going to have a new commentator tonight. So, with that all said, it's Tuesday, November the 1st, 2005, and we are live at the iPayOne Center in San Diego. That's not a real name, is it? iPayOne. It is. I checked, but I've got actually written on when I actually wrote down as I was writing this, like, that's an awful name for a building. Genuinely is. 6,000 fans on hand. Those lucky bastards saw the dream team of Matt Striker and Kerwin White beat Val Venus and Shelton Benjamin, and get this, for epic matches, yeah? 2 minutes 38 seconds. Fucking what is the point? Surely entrances take longer than that. Twisted Transistor by Korn is the theme music to this one, and it's not great. And the show is sponsored by WWE.com. This is one of those times where you start thinking, could they not find anyone to sponsor it? So it was sponsored by their own website. Very, very, very strange. We kick off with Edge and Chris Masters coming out to the ring, but before that we need to find out who our fucking play-by-play commentator is. It's not Coach, because he's got a match later on. It's, holy fuck, it's Joey Styles! So it actually could be alright, because this guy knows what he's talking about, so that could be interesting. So, this match, our opening contest, is a Raw versus SmackDown match. The fans could decide on which two SmackDown wrestlers would face Edge and Chris Masters. Their choices were Christian, Matt Hardy, Hardcore Holly, JBL, and Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio and Matt Hardy got the nod. Now, there's two little fun facts here that I'd like to share with you before we talk about the match. Fact number one is, you remember on my Taboo Tuesday 2004 review, I mentioned how it was Christian's last appearance, and then he appeared in many, many shows over the next year, because I was wrong on that night. Well, this is legitimately, this one is for real. This one's definitely Christian's last appearance. He's working on this show without a contract, and after this show, he's gone. Bye-bye, see you later. Fun fact number two is that when we saw the row of people who could be picked, most of them got a pop, or JBL got a boo. Hardcore Holly got nothing. Just absolutely silence. In one of those, why the fuck would anyone vote for him? I wish I'd written down, by the way, folks, how many of the votes he'd actually got, but I'm pretty certain it wasn't very many. And if anyone was voting for Hardcore Holly, sure, it was just his family. I don't know. So, okay, so the match itself. Oh, fuck the match, bollocks the match. Edge does not look impressed about Matt Hardy being the choice whatsoever. In fact, he gets on the mic and says, I'm not competing tonight, because beating you two means nothing. I've already beaten Rey Mysterio, I've already beaten Matt Hardy, this match does nothing for me. I've got a replacement, have a guess who it is. Yeah, fucking hell, it's Gene fucking Snitsky. So, Matt Hardy and Rey Mysterio defeating Gene Snitsky, hooray, and Chris Masters in an alright opener. In a legit funny moment that I seem to have completely forgotten about, we've got two referees for this one. We've got a Raw referee and we've got a SmackDown referee. These two guys, they both, for example, right, when the heels do something bad, when the heels cheat, they both count. When someone goes for a pin, they both count. It sounds ridiculous. It is ridiculous, but at the same time, it's very, very entertaining. Rey is your masked man in peril until Matt can get a lukewarm tag. He has a few moves in, including the classic I'll give myself a rock bottom, aka side effect, but when he wants the twist of fate, it's counters. He has a nasty looking superplex, which is closer to a super DDT than a superplex, but hey, he wants the twist of fate on Masters, but it's countered and he's our Hardy in peril. In an interesting, well, it's not interesting, it's one of those sort of things, King cannot understand why we're on a Raw pay-per-view and these fans are cheering cheering the SmackDown wrestlers. He's adamant that we, the fans, should be cheering the Raw guys. He mustn't have noticed that both Chris Masters and Snitsky are heels, or, and this is probably the more probable of the two, isn't it? He's a fucking retard. One of the two. What a fucking idiot. I mean, seriously, what an idiot. Anyway, Masters gets bonus points for working the back of Matt, which of course is good for the Master Lock, and also both men get lots and lots of bonus points for doing some good tag team wrestling. Have a guess what they do. They cut the ring off. 1 point Gene, right, when it looks like Matt's going to get the hot tag to Rey Mysterio, Gene goes sprinting across the ring, knocks Rey Mysterio off the apron. That's good tag team wrestling. I like shit like that. Rey gets the hot tag, and he cleans house, but he's trapped in the Master Lock. Rey tries the Survivor Series 96 finish, I'm sure you all remember that one. But SmackDown referee won't count the pin. It's one of those, that's fucking great. Like I say, no, sorry, I'm talking bollocks. I'm getting ahead of myself, right? Nick Patrick tries to count it. He's the SmackDown referee. Raw referee Mike Chioda won't count and then stops Nick Patrick counting it. That is a genuine entertaining. Both heels are knocked to the outside, so the faces dive onto them with stereo dives. Back inside, Rey gets 2 off a sunset flip, eats a nice net breaker for 2 from Masters. Hardy then counters a suplex into a nice DDT, 619 for Masters, followed by a twist of fate and a springboard splash. And both referees this time count the pinfall at 13 minutes and 44 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, I went into this match with absolutely zero expectations. It was one of those, can't be doing with Snitsky, can't really be doing with Masters, don't give a fuck about Rey Mysterio, not really got the most of the time for Matt Hardy, so it's one of those, oh, this is gonna be shit. This was a 3-star match. I thought it was very, very entertaining. It was a decent length, the crowd were hot, good action, the referees provided funny moments, 3 stars, happy days. In the back, Mick Foley and Maria realise that they have each other's outfits for their upcoming matches. They swap, hilarity ensures this isn't funny in the slightest. Next up, we get to choose who teams up with Eugene to face Rob Conway. Look at me, Rob Conway, and Tyson Congo. This was meant to be a handicap match, but Bischoff has made it a tag match because of reasons that are never really explained. Anyway, our choices were, check this shit, it's Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Kamala, or Jimmy Murder Snuka. We chose Snuka because we could. Apparently, Conway has been dissing legends. They tell us this as the match is starting. One of those, oh, cheers for that. I could have done with knowing this before. So, Gene is going to get revenge or some. So, Eugene is going to get revenge or something like that. Whereas in the opener, I didn't expect much and got a lot. With this one, I expected less and got even less, is the truth out of it. This was bollocks. Interestingly, Jimmy Snuka's music has been dubbed over on the network. I have absolutely no idea why. Eugene gets beat, Marc tag to Snuka, Eugene hits rock bottom, Snuka hits a splash, and that's all she wrote at 6:19. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Nothing offensive in this match, there genuinely isn't, so I can't dud it, but there's nothing good. So it's a half-a-star match if you're really nice. Oh, then Tomko gives out beats until Kamala and Duggan walk to the ring to make the save, because of course they can't run. There's a horrible joke in there about Kamala not being able to run because he's got no legs, but I won't make that because I'm just not that mean. Well, I don't, but I thought it. I'm awful. Out comes Carlito! We get to choose which face of Foley he will face. And again, this match is happening because of reasons. We can choose, obviously, just in case, if you don't know, just in case there's one person not going to the faces of Foley. We can choose between Cactus Jack, we can choose Vader Do Love, or we can choose Mankind. And it's Mankind that we choose. Now, of course, it's corporate Mankind with the stripe thing, not on the proper brown pants Mankind. I have, like I say, I've written on my notes here, I have no memory of why this match is happening. The video package suggests, check this out, are you ready? You're sitting comfortably for this one, because this one's hard, right? This one suggests, the video package, suggests that this one's happening because Foley called Carlito a horse's ass. Them's his fighting words, folks. Bloody hell. So, Mankind defeated Carlito in a rubbish match. Mick said on the Stone Cold podcast that he got paid as much to do this match as his last book had earned him. Still doesn't change the fact that he had retired in 2004 and then retired again in 2000. Retired in 2000 and then retired in 2004. Does it, Mick? Yeah. Match is nothing special. It's slow, it's paced. I mean, the highlight is a cactus elbow off the apron, but that's about it. Wrong guy wins. Mandible Claw gets the win for Mick. At 7:21, I don't care, 1 star. In the back, Vince is vexed, as I say, at Bischoff because Raw lost the opener to SmackDown. So, yay. Well done. Next, we viewers can decide who joins Angle in facing John Cena in the main event. We can choose between Shawn Michaels, Big Show and Kane. HBK wins for the 2nd year in a row, but the interesting thing here, folks, in my opinion, he wins by 8%. A whole fuck ton of people voted for Kane here. Anyway, the 2 losers, aka Big Show and Kane, team up to face the tag team champions, and that's immediately. So, Big Show and Kane defeating Cade and Trevor Murdoch in a meh match to win the WWE Championships. Joey Styles says when Kane's pyro goes off, and I quote, "Man, that is hot. I think I just crapped my pants." That's the best thing of the night so far. WWE logic dictates that one main eventer is infinitely better than the tag team champions. So when you've got 2 main eventers here, the tag team champions do not have a fucking prayer in this match, do they? They really don't. I mean, also, the other thing, of course, going into this match, I'm thinking, when you've got Big Show and Kane teamed up together, who plays the face in peril? They're both fucking enormous. They are huge. Who is the face in peril? Oh, heels get battered. And I mean really, really battered. Properly battered. Until, right, they can knock Kane off the top rope when he's going to go for his diving clothesline. They managed to beat on Kane, believe it or not. Until Kane can get a lukewarm tag to Big Show, who cleans house and double chokeslams finish at 7:57. A match actually told an okay story, but the champions were made to like utter jobbers. And then, get this, yeah, as far as I know, Murdoch and Cade teamed up maybe 2 or 3 more times on TV, and then split up because they could. So they've gone from winning the tag team championships at Unforgiven, wasn't it, to losing them to splitting up in the space of, 3 months? Yay? Maybe? In the back, Coach cuts a promo about how he'll soon be the WWE champion. Of course he will. And then we get the Divas out. We the people could vote about what the Divas wear in their upcoming Battle Royal. Now then, our choices were lingerie, leather and indeed all lace, or a cheerleader's outfit. Lingerie won, which is a big shame, because me, personally, maybe it's just my sexual preferences or anything like that, I would have preferred leather. Oh. Anyway, then a video package aired for the upcoming Batista versus Vader / Goldust and Coach match, which was set up last night on Raw. Hilariously, this is meant to be Stone Cold versus Coach, with Stone Cold losing to Jonathan Coachman. Stone Cold is a wise man and basically said, fuck that. So they had to come up with some story that Stone Cold had fallen over in the shower or something like that. Speaking of falling over in the shower, if anyone gets the chance to listen to the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast where he tells a story, I can't remember which episode it is, there's a story about him getting stuck in the shower, which is one of the funniest things I've ever heard. It's so funny, it made me cry laughing. Anyway, Vince came out, said that Austin had an accident and made it Cena's Coach is Raw's #1 announcer. He should face Funaki, who of course is SmackDown's #1 announcer. So they had a match where Coach and Goldust battered Funaki. Coach got cocky, calling out anyone from SmackDown, so out came Batista, and of course he gets to be on Coach until Vader comes out, and the 3 wail on Batista. Hilariously, I'm sure you must remember this one, Vader falls off the apron as he's getting out of the ring after this match. It's not on the video package, but it's on YouTube, so it's one of those, I had to go on. I was like, isn't that this match? So yeah, go onto YouTube, type it, and you're like, yep, there it is, off he falls. Hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Anyway, we, the people, got to choose what sort of match this would be, believe it or not. We got to choose, check this out. Ridiculous. What else would we choose? Come on, what would we choose between a verbal debate, an arm wrestling contest, or a street fight? It's one of those, what else are we going to choose? We're wrestling fans. We're on it's a wrestling pay-per-view. I want to see a street fight, damn it. And that's exactly what we got. Batista defeating Coach, Goldust and Vader in a street fight. This was never going to be anything more than an utter squash, was it? The only offense Batista takes is a kendo stick shot from Goldust and a belt shot from Coach. that is absolutely it, as the Animal hits the Spinebusters on Goldust and Vader and then hits the Batista bomb on Coach for the win at 4:16. Not in the slightest bit entertaining. This was boring, this was pointless, and of course the biggest thing out of all of this, what does this achieve for the world champion? I ask you that. What good does this do for Batista? I don't think it does anything at all. In the back, Angle talks to Shawn Micheals. He says we should make a pact. We should take out Cena and then see who is the best. Micheals says he will think about it. Next up is Trish Stratus defeating Ashley, Mickie James, Maria, Victoria and Candice Michelle in a Fulfill Your Fantasy Battle Royale. I don't know about you, but I think that's an odd choice for a name, because Fulfill Your Fantasy. I don't know about you, but I've had a fair share of fantasies over the years, and not many of them involve them being in a battle royale. I've thought about doing various disgraceful things to Trish Stratus over the years, but not in a ring, not in a ring. I'm going to change the subject now. A word on Mickie James, if I may, because I could talk about that for a long time, and I'd get myself into quite a bit of trouble. So, I don't want you thinking that I'm a sexual pervert or anything like that. So, the former Alex Larry made her broad debut on October the 10th. Her character obviously becomes Mickie James. Her character is nice and simple, and that is that she is Trish Stratus' biggest fan. She may be in love with Trish Stratus. We'll explore that over the next couple of months, won't we? As it's a women's battle royale, you're eliminated not just by going over the top rope, but through the middle or under the bottom rope, if you like. That's a stupid rule. It really is. Ashley's music has been dubbed over with Generic Rock 4 in this one, whereas Mickie has got a Generic Rock 7 as her music. Not much happens in the match. The main story, and there is one, the main story is that every time it looks like Trish is going out, Mickie saves her, to the point where when it goes down, the final three are Mickie and Victoria and Trish, and Mickie basically eliminates herself and Victoria at the same time so that Trish can win. And when Trish is handed a championship belt, and she just goes, when she looks into the hard camera and does that sort of face, and you're like, yeah, fair enough. After the match, Mickie interrupts Trish's victory speech. Trish does not look very impressed at all. This was alright. A Battle Royal / Rumble match that had a bit of storytelling to it, so we'll go for 1 star if you're feeling nice. Next up, we get to vote on the stipulation for the upcoming Intercontinental Championship match. Our choices are 1 fall to a finish, a submission match, or a steel cage match. Now bear in mind that Ric Flair had cut a promo before this show begging us to put these two in a cage. You can probably guess which one won by 83% of the votes. Ric Flair defeating Triple H in a really good steel cage match to retain the Intercontinental Championship. This is the pay-per-view debut of the Fu Manchu-tash thing that Triple H had for the next couple of years. It's fucking awful in my humble opinion. So, because it's the best match of the night, I will go through this one for you, and it's the Triple H match, so you know what's coming. Back and forth to start us off. To be honest, Flair's offense is punches and chops and punches. Really, that's pretty much all he's got. He walks into, say it with me, it's going to be a big one, the quad-ripping spinebuster of doom! In like the first 2 minutes. Happy fucking days. Triple H takes control, throwing Flair into the cage various times, busting Flair wide open. Hunter works the cut by driving a knee into the face and then grating the face into the cage. He climbs to the top of the cage. Flair follows. They brawl on the top rope. I say brawl, Flair chops. He does that. They both crotch themselves on the top rope. Hunter recovers first and gets a piece of chain off the top of the cage. He goes to drop a fist on Flair, but the Nature Boy gets the boot up. Do you know how I say they go for a top rope nothing? It's one of those, they come off the top rope, it's one of those, I'm a guy who doesn't do any aerial moves, so I'm going to go to the top rope and I'm going to jump off, and every time it's counted. This is one of those times where it looks like it's going to be that, but he does have the chain around the fist, so when he comes off, Flair gets the boot up, boot goes into Triple H's face. It actually makes sense, it actually works for a change. I wish they'd do it more often. Flair tries to capitalise with a shin breaker and a figure 4, but Hunter starts the chain wrapped around his fist, so calmly whacks Flair. The resulting cover gets 2. For reasons, and I don't get this one, the referee takes the chain off of Hunter. It's a no disqualification match. It's steel cage, so there's no disqualification. Do whatever the fuck you want. I don't know why this happens, especially with what happens later on in the match. Triple H stays in the offense with punches, a knee drop, and a figure 4 of his own. Flair losing it while he's in the mid-move, shouting, "I'll kill you!" It's a nice little touch. Flair reverses the hold, so Triple H lets go, and then puts on another figure four, mocking Flair before he locks it on, allows Flair to counter. Sorry, I don't know what that means. Mocking Flair. Oh, of course. He grabs the leg and grabs and walks 1, 2, 3. Now we go to school. That gives Flair time to recover. I'm sorry, I didn't know what the hell I wrote there. He turns Hunter around, gives him a big kick. Hunter goes face first into the cage. He's busted open. He does it he actually blades as he falls down. So he bounces off the cage, and as he's falling, he blades. It's a nice little touch, but I notice it. Double juice job, of course. It seems crazy to think about that now, seeing like these two both in the semi-main, these two both busted open. But I always say cage matches need blood. They do. That's what they do. They need it. Yeah, we can nitpick all we want and say, look, they're having their first match of this feud in a cage, but meh, they're both in a cage. They both hate each other. Need blood. Flair, the nutcase that he is, bites Triple H's cut. Flair punches and chops, then sends Hunter into the cage. Various times, fish hooks Hunter's face, hits a vertical suplex, some knees of his own, and then he goes to work on the leg. Styles and commentary reminds us that it's the left quadricep that Triple H tore back in 2001. That's some great commentary, that is. I really, really like that. Chop back to the leg by Flair, followed by elbows and stomps to the leg. Now we go to school, he shouts. Figure four. Triple H sells it like death itself. He sells it like his soul is being sucked out of his body. He has to resort to decking the ref to break the hold. Flair cans cage. He rakes the eyes of Triple H and hits an axe handle for 2. He goes low just because he can. He goes to escape out the door. Triple H stops him, but Flair brings a chair in with it. Hunter gets it. Flair goes low again to counter. The pedigree is countered into a backdrop onto the chair. Flair grabs the chair, and this is what I was talking about the way the referee grabbed the chain. Flair hits 3 chair shots right to the face. Obviously, Hunter gets the hand up for all of them, but even so, 3 chair shots, and then Flair just goes, that'll do, and walks out. Walks just literally calm, walks out the cage. And that gives him the win and the match, and of course that means he retains at 23 minutes and 47 seconds. Legit enjoyed this one. Hunter bumping like a boss for one of his best mates is a nice touch. Flair, to be his credit, I know I've mocked him for his chops, but he carried his half of the match. They kept it nice and simple. They didn't need to resort to any particularly crazy bumps. They did it old school. It told a story. It's all that jazz. The only thing, in my opinion, that hurt it was that finish. I would have preferred a pin or a submission or a proper over-the-top escape. Not just doors there. I've hit him with the chair 3 times. Best escape while I've got a chance. It kind of makes sense. I just like to say I would have preferred a pin or a submission. That's just me. Okay. Lastly. Oh, well, wait, fuck it. 6 million people have voted for this show. That's an interesting fact, isn't it? And our main event is John Cena defeating Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle in a decent triple threat match to retain the WWE Championship. You'll notice there, that's 2 faces and 1 heel. Do not like that dynamic. 1 bit! Match is all action at the start. In the first thing that Kurt Angle does, the very first thing is to whack Shawn Michaels. So, hey, I think we should make a pact. We should make, fuck it, bam, sort of thing. Yeah, why not? Yeah, it's moves. It's suplexes and slams and all that jazz, each one trying their own finish and all that jazz. So, Cena is driven through the Spanish announce table by Angle and Michaels, who then decide, right, because we teamed up there, that's enough of that. Now we get in the ring, because Cena's been taken out, now we get in the ring and we have our own little match. They had their own little match, and it was nice. The problem, of course, you've got is that we've seen these two face off 3 times this year already, so there's nothing that we haven't seen before out of them, but I've got to confess, I popped out like a little girl when Shawn Michaels went to the top rope and Angle hit his run-up super angle slam for 2. That was really, really fucking good. Cena recovers. When he gets in the ring and starts going on the attack with the 5 moves of doom, there's a lot of boos. Noticeable amount of boos that have been creeping in since SummerSlam. You know? Angle stops the masturbation drop by pulling Cena to the outside. Shawn Michaels with a beautiful dive onto Angle, and it's time for Shawn Michaels to hit his 5 moves of doom. You know the ones: a scoop slam, an atomic drop, a flying forearm, a nip up. But when he goes, you know what's coming next. It's going to be the elbow drop off the top rope. Angle knocks him to the outside, puts the ankle lock on Cena. Cena desperately tries to break it, trying everything he can think of. Angle holds on to it. But Cena tries his hardest to break it, like I say. Shawn Michaels breaks up the ankle lock, hits the sweet chin music on angle, but he then walks into the FU by Cena. That gets the win at 16:42. And to his credit, Cena, for the rest of the time that we're on air, sells the ankle lock. He cannot put any weight on the ankle. He just manages to get up, holds the belt up, and then falls down because the leg gives out because he's in so much pain. That is such a nice touch that I just do not understand why someone like Cena just stopped doing. One of my biggest criticisms of John Cena, as you all know, is that he doesn't sell. And shit like this, you're looking at it going, why don't you do that anymore? This was a 3-star match. I thought it was alright. It could have told more of a story, but what we actually got in the crowd were decent, right? The length of all that. The moves we got were all good. Ladies and gentlemen, this show features 3 matches. Those top 2 matches are both definitely worth your time, and the opener is a lot better than you would expect. The problem you've got with this show is that the majority of it is fucking awful. You will sit through an hour and a half, at least, of utter shite to get to the good stuff. I mean, the opening contest, is a 3-star match, and it's not that great. I enjoyed it because I think I went into it with such low expectations that it was one of those, this was better than I thought it was going to be. So I gave it the 3-star rating, that, because of that. It's not a great show. It really, it's a 3, maybe a 4 out of 10. I think I'm going to go with 3.5 out of 10, just because it's those top two matches. Go find those on the network now. Flair versus Triple H. I genuinely would love to know what people thought of that, because I've got it 4 stars. I can't see their rematch at the Survivor Series being as good as this one. Genuinely can't. I would love to know what you thought down below of Taboo Tuesday. Hell, what do you think of Raw Hardcore Homecoming? Hey, so ladies and gentlemen, that's 2 down. We've got 2 to go. As I'm sure you all are aware, especially because of the date that it is today. It's the 16th of November that I'm actually filming this. You'll probably see it on the 17th. Hell, you could be watching this in a year's time. But on the 13th of November 2005, Eddie Guerrero passed away. I'm sure you've all been putting on Facebook and Twitter and all that jazz. What you thought? My thought, I wrote out the biggest paragraph about what I thought about Eddie. And I just... everything that I wrote didn't feel right or felt like I was being, I wasn't doing Eddie justice. Does that make sense? Everything that I could write about how, I wrote about how I've only ever cried about one wrestler's death, and that was Eddie. I can still remember exactly where I was when I found out where, that he died and all that jazz, and all of it just didn't, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. I put in the end, one line on Facebook, nice and simple, R.I.P. Eddie, you were the best. That's the only thing, and that was like, that's all I could put. That is the best I could do. Obviously, we had 2 tribute shows to Eddie Guerrero. Personally, I think that was too many. Now, I would say that because Eddie loved the business. We all know that. I'm going to mention it quite a few times in the next however long as we review these shows. I think Eddie personally would have liked 1 tribute show, and that's enough. And then let's get on with the rest with the business. But that's just me. So, right, so let's go on with this. So on Raw on the 14th of November, so the day after Eddie passed away, was dedicated to Eddie. The show opened with him dressed by Vince McMahon, with the entire roster stood behind him, most of them in tears, and a lot of them wearing the I'm Your Pappy t-shirt of Eddie's. Vince told us that Eddie loved to perform, and that he would have wanted the show to go on. They told the bell 10 times, and you sat watching it going, any time you hear a 10-bell salute, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard. It's one of those things that we do in wrestling. That I think if you're not a wrestling fan, it's one of those, why are you doing that? But I think all wrestling fans, if you hear a 10-bell salute, it chokes you up a little bit, doesn't it? And this one we sat there watching, you're like, oh man, Eddie. But then you saw a little boy in the crowd in his mother's arms, wailing his little heart out, and you're like, that chokes you up. AJ Lee was not AJ Lee, who was it? Sorry, it was, not AJ Lee, what was her name? Sasha Banks, sorry, you were all sat going, Sasha Banks, you dickhead. Sasha Banks was in the crowd this night, wasn't she? And hearing her talking about this on Jericho's podcast was very, very sad. Very, very sad indeed. So, they played a video package about Eddie, and then with a Johnny Cash track behind it, and we hear from John Cena, who talks about how Eddie taught him about finding his heart, to embrace his heart, the good, the bad, or the indifferent. We see a moment from 2003 where Eddie Guerrero sprayed shit all over Big Show. I have no memory of this, but it did make me smile. First match of the night was Kane and the Big Show beating MNM after a double chokeslam on Johnny Nitro. Lillian Garcia spoke about how she and Eddie budded immediately because they both spoke Spanish. She talks about how humble Eddie Guerrero was and how her favourite memory of Eddie was that when they were on the tour of his rap in 2004 when he was telling them, all the troops were like thanking him, thank you, and Eddie was saying, don't thank me, thank you for what you do for our country. A funny moment from SmackDown where Eddie was auctioning some of Angle's things. I don't remember seeing this one, but because Angle's wheelchair is there, I'm going to guess that this was before SummerSlam 2004. Match 2 saw Kurt Angle beat Shelton Benjamin in a really good technical match with the ankle lock. Shawn Micheals then talked about how he and Eddie used to talk about their faith a lot, and Shawn Michaels saying he's in a better place and all that. And it's that there is. I hope this doesn't come across as offensive to anyone, but as someone who doesn't believe in religion, he's sat going, I don't care. I just couldn't give a fuck. I watched the Sting documentary recently. Let me just tell you something. There's a little bit of thing. I watched the Sting documentary. I thought it was alright. I thought it was a decent documentary until they went to his bloody church. And I'm just like going, I don't care. I don't give a fuck about your religion at all. I am so anti-religious you wouldn't believe it. Don't put things like this in wrestling. I'm not interested. I don't want you talking about your faith. It just makes me want to skip it. They showed a few of the lie, cheat and steal bits. Chavo, obviously very upset, talked about Eddie was technically his uncle, but they were brothers. He talked about how they had their first match together, how they would wrestle on the intermission of their grandfather's promotions, and then after a while they had to stop doing it because no one was going to the concession stands. Everyone was sitting watching Chavo and Eddie Guerrero wrestle when they were like 7 and 9 respectively. Their dream was to be the tag team champions together, and the dream came true. Match number 3 saw Rey Mysterio beat Shawn Michaels in a good match after a 619 and a springboard leg drop. Batista talks about Eddie always had a Bible quote for any situation, how funny Eddie was. Melina won a Divas Battle Royal with the last elimination Trish Stratus, and I think this got her a title shot. Rey Mysterio talked about how close their families were, how Eddie loved the business, how much he loved his family. They show a clip of WrestleMania 20 after Benoit wins the World Heavyweight Championship. His best mate Eddie comes out and gives us an incredible moment, one that will never be forgotten, of them both standing there, the confetti ringing down, both got their champions. These two men who were always told they were too small, who would never win the championship at WrestleMania 20, there they are with their belts. Eugene defeated Simon Dean after a rock bottom. Chris Benoit talked about his friendship with Eddie, how close they were. Benoit does so well, in my opinion, in this one. He tries so hard to keep his face composed and to just he wants to be the rabid Wolverine. He wants to stay in character, I think, while he talks about Eddie, but after about a minute or so he completely cracks and he wails, he sobs like a little girl, and it's even knowing what Benoit will do in the future, it's hard to watch knowing that his best mate had died the day before. You know what I mean? Clips of Eddie winning the championship at No Way Out 2004. Triple H talks about how Eddie overcame his demons and how Eddie could do anything. Ric Flair defeated William Regal via submission with a figure 4 leg lock. Stephanie McMahon talks about meeting Eddie for the first time, how much he loved the business, how much he loved his family. Steph broke down in the middle of this one. I need to point out as well that Triple H, again, tried to do the hard man thing, I think it was, and tried to not break down, but at the end, he looked into the camera and said, I'll miss you, man, as a tear rolled down his face. These are all very hard to watch, in my opinion. But the thing is, what makes them great is that they are real. That these are people talking about someone who they love. And then there's clips of Eddie beating China in a triple threat match with Angle to win the Intercontinental Championship. Kurt KO'd China with the IC title belt, and then Eddie, because of course he was in the storyline with her at the time, cradled her in his arms, but as he sort of lifted her up and then gently put her down onto the mat again, but that counted as a cover, so the referee counted the cover. 1, 2, 3, Eddie's the champion. That was very amusing. And in the main event, John Cena beat Randy Orton. That's a match that should have happened more, isn't it, over these two careers? You'd think, after all the time that these two have been in the WWE, that John Cena versus Randy Orton would have happened like a lot more than it actually did, didn't it? I mean, how many times has it happened? Like once or twice? Something like that? Hey, I'm trying to be poignant here and talk about something serious. Stop it. Every verse. Police car. Bet you didn't think you didn't guess that one, did you? A few days later, SmackDown was also dedicated to Eddie. The show started off with Batista driving one of Eddie's lowriders to the ring. He got to the mic and talked about how Eddie loved his family and how much he loved the wrestling business. We showed clips from the Sheet and Life Steel and DVD showing Eddie's early years. In the first match of the night, Rey Mysterio, it doesn't even say Rey Mysterio, it's just Matt Hardy. How did you get those two confused? Matt Hardy beats Carlito after a twist of fate. Vince McMahon talked about Eddie's passion for the business and how much he loved to perform, and the thing he loved more than performing was his family. Another clip from the DVD talking about Eddie and Vicky getting back together after they had divorced a few years earlier. LOD 2005 defeating Cade and Murdoch in a boring match after the Doomsday device. Booker T talked about their wars in WCW and WWE and how he knows that they will see each other again in heaven. They showed some more. They showed the same Lies, Cheat and Steal video from Raw. Big Show talked about Eddie's faith and his family. He said his only comfort is that Eddie is with God now. A few more clips about Eddie's days, and then Chavo Guerrero finally ditched the awful Kerwin White gimmick, and on this night he fought JBL and incorporated a lot of Eddie Guerrero isms into the match. So for example, he brought a chair into the ring. When the referee took the chair away, he brought a second chair into the ring, threw it at JBL, who caught it, and then Chavo lay on the mat still on his head like he'd been hit with it. And then when the referee got rid of the second chair, Chavo went low, hit the three amigos, and a frog splash to get the win. Surely in a match where Chavo, the only time that Chavo would ever get a win over JBL is in circumstances like this. Clips from the DVD about WrestleMania 20 and how proud Vicky was. JBL talks about his feud with Eddie and how he's known the Guerrero family for a long time. He talks about how Eddie went to bat for JBL when no one believed he could be a main eventer, how he was a groomsman at his wedding, and how he helped Bradshaw when he went through a divorce. We see the same clip of Eddie winning the championship at No Way Out. And Hoovertude defeated Tajiri, Gregory Helms, Kid Cash, Paul London, Scotty Too High, Brian Kendrick, Nunzio, Funaki, Super Crazy and Psychosis in a short Cruiserweight Championship Battle Royal to retain his championship. The clips about Latino Heat, we see some clips about the Latino Heat gimmick and where that came from, and then we see a clip of Eddie's last match from a few weeks back where he beat Mr. Kennedy. Shane McMahon talks about the Guerrero family and how much Eddie loved to perform and loved his family. We saw the WrestleMania clip again where they won the championship, and our main event was Chris Benoit defeating Triple H in a good match. And after the match, the two men hugged, and then Dean Malenko came out and they hugged and all that jazz. Both shows were very classy. Both shows were nice tributes to Eddie. I've got to be honest here, hand on heart honest. Now, if this gets me any heat, I will take it. They do get a bit repetitive after a while, because there's so many. The reason I say that is there's only so many talking heads that you can hear say that Eddie loved his family and loved the business. It's everything. It's like, yeah, someone already said that. Yeah, someone already said that. So I feel like you're at halfway through the SmackDown when it starts to get a bit. And of course, like I say, maybe it's because it's 10 years removed from the event, but the SmackDown one especially just feels like a lot of it's already been said, and they showed a lot of the same clips that were showed on Raw. And I feel like the second one is a bit unnecessary. I'll tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, one of the reasons why this video has taken so long for me to do is that I couldn't find the SmackDown one. The Raw one is on YouTube twice. The SmackDown one isn't online anywhere. I had to go and find a torrent for it. That's a true story. Ladies and gentlemen, I've given you 4 reviews there. What did you think of these 4 shows? What do you think of Homecoming, when the WWE returned to the USA Network after you've been on Spike for 2 or 3 years before that? What do you think of Taboo Tuesday? And what do you think of Eddie Guerrero tribute shows? You can tell me what your favourite Eddie Guerrero memory is if you like. This has been a long ass vid. I hope you understand why. Next up I'm going to do Survivor Series 2005 for you. Hopefully I'll have that up in a couple of weeks. I've been Marc P. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Follow me on Twitter. Check out my Facebook page. All of that jazz. And I will see you all soon. Take it easy, guys. Viva la raza! Miss you, Eddie.